Hello, Chantal. How are you today?
Good, thank you, Ange. Lovely to be here with you, as always.
Yes, it's always a great pleasure to talk to you. And I've asked you, and you've accepted, which I'm incredibly grateful for, to come and talk to our listeners about your experience in the Business Intuition Academy that you have joined about a month ago.
Yes,
It was actually a gift for you being
yes.
the most active member in my free group, the Intuition Revolution. So, and I gave it to you with all my heart because you're such an amazing contributor in the community. But I'd like to ask you a couple of questions for people who'd like to understand what it's like in there with your,
Mhm,
your experience of a cycle in the Business Academy. Because the
mhm,
Business Academy, every month we have a 4 or 5 week cycle where we have a training about a particular topic on how to use intuition in business. So the month that you joined was niching, right? And then
mhm.
after that, we have a hot seat. Then I do live readings in the group, and then we have another hot seat, and then we have a Q&A, which is just about to happen in the group. So you've had almost the full cycle, and you're one of the early adopters of the Business Intuition Academy, because I've run it with a small group of ladies who I call my insiders, which is lovely. So I wanted to know first, where were you in your business before you joined?
Thank you. And I've joined with the gift was given to me with all your heart. I received it with all my heart. So I'd like to say that because where I was before I started with you or with the academy was I was confused about my target market or my niching. And it happened to be we're going to listen to intuition. What a perfect month for me to be gifted this and about niching. And even though you and I had been working together on it and I had started to refine it, what this month has done is it's given me a lot more of a sense of what I need to do, how to do it, being in the hot seat and having a space where I can safely share without it being judged. Because doing something like niching is I find it quite scary to niche down, 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 to come right down into this. I still haven't quite got there yet. And that's nothing to do with Ange's Academy. It's to do with me because that's my block because they're going to anxiety. But what I love about the group is, and the way you hold the space and then we hold it for each other, is that it's given me the opportunity to be able to really start wording it, just wording it. Because each time I word it, I refine it. Each time I refine, I go down. And then because we are listening to our intuition in business, I can then step away, let my intuition to do its magic as well, and then come back to it.
Mm. I love how you put it as well, because especially with niching, it's a process that you're doing really well. I resisted for 2 years.
Mm. Thank you.
Right. So just to give a bit of perspective, I resisted for 2 years. And after that, it took me another 2 years for the process. So I'm not saying it's going to take people 4 years. I was particularly resistant because I wanted to serve everyone and I knew I could serve
Yes.
everyone. And I think that's the most common problem with niching generally. So that's why I'm so passionate about holding this space for women who know they have so much to give, who want to help others, but who don't understand the power of niching. They feel that they're going
Yeah.
to leave some people in the cold. They feel like there's, even with the pricing, we're going to get to it. You don't want to put a price up that people can't afford. That sort of thing. We care so much about our clients that we don't want to exclude anyone, and that's not good for us because that ends up us. I'm sorry, just my eyes started. Um, we end up depleting ourselves. So
Yes.
that's and especially for heart-centered entrepreneurs, I feel that's even more poignant in a way. Yeah.
Mm. And I agree with you on that. And I think also we're so busy caring about the client, because also I think that's as women, we forget to care about ourselves.
Yeah. Right. So I assume I'm going to phrase back to you what I believe was your biggest problem, and let me know if I've understood right, okay? Because I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But so I feel that your biggest problem was the anxiety and the mindset issues around niching, but also being able to use your intuition and not get stuck in your mind in a cycle
Mm-hmm.
of overthinking. Am I right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay.
And what I found interesting was coming back to niching. I originally thought, I would niche on my childhood experience. Then I thought I'd niche on PTSD, and I knew, because that's been my experience, to be able to support women through life-changing experiences. Nothing really stuck until we found this one. Then I went, that's it.
So you
So
felt it in your body.
I felt it in my body. Okay. So I felt it all the way through my body. So then I knew I was right. Doesn't mean the other stuff still can't come in, because it can still be part of this in the bigger sense. So then I felt it in my body when we got the overall gist of my niche. All right. And then now from there, I can start going, right, is it this, or this, or this? And then I can start going down. I see it as a funnel.
Yeah.
I see it as a funnel.
I think the interaction, I loved it, because when I see you niching, I see where it goes. And I think a couple of times I've commented and given you a little bit of what I saw. But again, it was because you felt it in your body that you knew, yes, that's right. Yes. Does that make sense?
That's exactly right. And I think that's a really good point you just said, because not only did you comment, but the other ladies commented as well. So you're not alone. And we comment on each other, because a sense of safety, a sense of community, a sense of togetherness that I think is very powerful, because then you're not going, well, then you can say, look, I feel a bit, I'm not sure, or someone can give, like what you did, you gave me a different perspective. And also because I trust you, know your work, I knew when it came and you went, that's it, because it hit me in the heart.
Because when it feels aligned, it feels different, doesn't it?
It does. Completely different.
And I love well what you said, because we are complex beings that have had so many experiences, and rightly people tell us that our niche is probably a younger version of us, but there's so many different versions of us that are younger. Exactly. Not all of them are right. So I love that we were able to work through that. I'm getting goosebumps actually, because I could speak to so many different versions of me. I can even confuse myself around that.
Yes.
And the mind will just try to chew on that bone until you get to it, but then it will distract itself by possibly, I'm going to say possibly, choose the niche that feels safer rather than the one that maybe feel not so comfortable, because our intuition always takes us out of our comfort zone where we know we can do the work, but we might not believe it 100%. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. And what was the word you used? I think that is it. Because when I was first niching with the PTSD side, I was in that. I'd only just come out of it. So it felt fresh, familiar, comfortable, like you say. It did feel comfortable. Whereas this, I hadn't even thought about this particular topic, my niche, women without children, because I'd never talked about it. Society doesn't talk about it. It just never was in my thought form that would be a niche until you said it. And then it went right through my body, into my heart. And then when I started doing some market research and bits and pieces, like how many women are out there that need to talk just on that general level. And then, like you said, coming down. So that's been a real eye-opener for me. Because not a niche I even thought.
Interesting, right? It's because it was so obvious for me, but then that's the power of intuition and also having someone to reflect back. Exactly. But also what I'm seeing is that there was work for you to do on that niche that would bring you back to yourself. So that was maybe where the resistance was, because on all the other fronts, you felt that you were sorted. You felt that you were like, that was it. And sometimes we think that we have to have it all sorted out for our clients, but we only need to be one step ahead, don't we? That's right. But we have to, and I love how, in my experience, the universe brings me people that have similar issues to mine, but that I haven't completely resolved. And it's a sign, almost a mirror of saying, this is where the work needs to go.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I think, as you said, it did trigger a healing in me that was totally unexpected. And it's taken me to a deeper level of who I am to be able to be there for the women who will be attracted to the work that I do.
It's not easy, that niching thing, isn't it?
No. And I'm still resisting. Rest assured, I'm still resisting. So even though you give all this amazing information in the academy, and then I can't remember if it was in the academy, but I want, also showing us how to use the tarot cards, that, it was like, oh my God, that's another powerful tool. But my tarot cards kept saying no as well. And then I got really confused. And as I mentioned to you, briefly, I had the wrong pack, but I know that's not part of the academy, but it's part of something that you teach.
There is a whole plan your year with the tarot as one of the units, because the academy stemmed from something that was more oriented towards tarot, but I know that not everyone is into tarot. But I love talking and teaching the tarot as well, because it is a way to shortcut or to bypass our ego.
Yes.
And to stop the overthinking.
Exactly. Yet, as I mentioned, as I was saying, it kept saying no. Everything I said was no, yes, no, yes. All the things that we'd felt was right. So it was really a powerful experience, because then I did think, well, I've got it wrong. So again, the old story came in, I've got it wrong, not meant to be doing this. So rest assured, this is what happens when you start niching, even though it feels right. As you said, the intellect comes in. Then suddenly one morning when I was thinking about, I stepped away, came in, did a pendulum, wrong cards, the wrong set of tarot cards. I needed a different set that was gentler for me, for where I'm at, and all that. I went, oh my gosh, there you go. So again, listening to intuition, bringing that in.
All the tarot deck was saying is, don't use me. I'm not the right one for you.
Yes, exactly right. But it took me a little while.
Mindset, but our minds create this story.
Yes.
And it's really interesting to be able to observe that. I think the mindset part is so important.
Yeah,
to catch us in the moment of, why am I doubting my intuition, and what am I making this mean, and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Because I wanted the distraction to say, actually, no, I don't want to do this niche, really. I want to go back to what is familiar, So if you think about, I laugh and we can, but that's what it is. And I want, women who do come in to realize that this is not, or this can be normal. What's normal for me?
It's,
so I'm just sharing
my
that
experience. I'm not saying that it will be for everyone, but it's definitely my experience. I have so much resistance in me. So much. I laugh at it sometimes. I find myself extremely entertaining.
Yes. Well, I tell you what, you and me both, and that's the beautiful thing, when we can start laughing at ourselves or with ourselves, and then be able to share that with each other, like we are here, to show other women, we're showing each of us that this is what can happen. This is normal. We are being pushed to our boundaries. But when we're doing something new, it is always pushing our boundaries. For some women who are watching this, it might be they're not even that in tune with their intuition yet. So they're still learning to deal with intuition and with niching. That's quite a bit, because I'd already was coming back to it, because I disconnected with it. So, I realized, boy, if I still was disconnected from my intuition like I had been, or wasn't as in it, I would have found it a lot harder.
And do you feel that you've received the support that you needed with this?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, I have. Yes.
Had you been in a group program before? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on. No.
Had you been in a group program before, or had you had one-to-one coaching? I just want to, have a little idea of what kind of experience you had before.
I'd been in a group before. That was good. But I hadn't really thought of going into something like this. Bit of my own resistance going on from last year, where I just didn't want to be part of anything for a while. So, when it came the way it did, I just knew it was the right time for me to step back into this. So I'd done one group before that I actually quite enjoyed, but that came and went because I came and went as well, because,
And what would you say was different from that other group experience? I know it's very young. It's only been a month or so, but...
What was different? I think what was different, as much as what you provide, I resonate totally with you. I'm also different. I'm more willing to be more active in a group, more participating. So I think that makes a big difference too. Not that I didn't make a commitment to the other group, but I was in a different space. I was too overwhelmed by it all. And I also had too much happening with all sorts of things on Facebook. Whereas now I've really reduced it down. I'm just doing certain groups, or one, yours in particular is the only one I'm doing from a business point of view. I've got a couple there on the side, but I set the intention that I was only going to focus on this, and that's more than enough. More than enough.
It's important.
And then that way I get more out of it, because you're giving great content. There's no doubt about that. But it's up to me to also then work with it. It's like having a party. I can only do a certain amount. If you come along and don't enjoy it, well, perhaps it sometimes says more about you than the person organizing it.
Oh, that you put it in such a lovely way. So what would you say is your favorite thing about the Business Intuition Academy?
Oh, I love it's basically acceptance. I think it's acceptance that I can come in to a group where we are accepted without judgment. I think that's a big part, because when you're sharing something vulnerable or a part of you that you're owning and you're not quite sure there, that perfectionism comes in and, you know, it can trigger all sorts of things. I think it's really important that we are accepted. So by you leading that way, you're giving us permission to not only accept ourselves, but each other, to be able to share without judgment, knowing that that's just not part of the energy of the group. It's an unspoken thing. Yes, you've got your rules and that, but it's just unspoken. No one does that because we're in there honoring each other. And that is what I think is really powerful. And you hold that space really well.
Oh, it's so interesting that it's something unwritten and that you've picked up on that, because that's not even something I was aware of. So thank you for that. I really appreciate. Thank you. The last thing is, what would you say to someone who's sitting on the fence about joining?
Listen to your intuition. Sorry.
You've done this before, Chantal.
No, and that might sound, I mean, I'm giggling here because sometimes we can still overdoubt that. Look, I think it's like with anything, trust yourself. So really tune in. What you just do is tune into your body and listen to that, your guides or whatever it is for you, and just take the step. Because ultimately what I love about what you do is, which was initially an anxiety of mine, I thought, oh my God, do I have to sign up for the year? You know, do I have to sign up for X amount of time? And when you said, no, you can leave anytime you want, that was a big relief for me. It's like it's giving me the space and the gateway to just be there every month, and then I can make that decision. That supported me. So I think it's like, give it a go. You know, it's like, give it a go. See the month, get a feel. And then, because guess what I've done? I've signed up for the second one. And most probably, I'm pretty sure I'll sign up for the third one, you know, because you gave that freedom and that space. Okay. That's what I appreciated.
Thank you. I love talking to you. And it's funny. It's something that my intuition told me, do not tie people in. And perhaps it's because it's something that's very novel, what I'm doing. Yes. And it's not going to be for everyone. No. So I need to make sure that it's exactly the right people who are in the group. Because the group energy, I work with energy, you work with energy. We know how important the energy is. So you need to feel that this is the right group, that the people are so important as a collective. And it's kind of funny because I want to mention something that maybe I'm going to shoot myself in the foot, but I hate groups. I have hated groups for so long because they were not conscious groups. And there was all these dysfunctional stuff going on and all these little, kind of people trying to take the lead that or the other. And by talking to you, I'm realizing this is a circle. This is a business circle. Yes, this is a sacred space. I'm getting goosebumps when I'm saying this. And this is a space that you join consciously. It's not something that you're going to sign up because I NLP you into it. It's something because your soul is going to call you in. Does that make sense?
Look, it makes sense. And I think that's a really, really good point, because I'm like you. I don't particularly like groups either, even though I've gone and created my own for my niche market. But as you were talking, what it hit me was you're creating the group on your terms with your energy. And that is what's powerful.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, not NLP. I'm doing the same. I'm doing it very slowly. It's my energy. I'm doing it the way I want. So I think that's what it is. And I think if someone, if you are on the fence, even if you come for 1 month, you can leave again. It might not. You might think you go in and think this is for me. You might find it isn't. And I think that's what I love about you, Ange. And that's okay. It's just this the way it is. Because it's teaching me to take responsibility that if I don't want to stay here for whatever reason it might be, I can actually leave. And
you don't take prisoners.
Exactly right. You don't take prisoners. Exactly right. And I love that. There's no NLP, as you said, it's none of that. You come, you stay. If you don't want to, you go. And that is, it's clean. It is clear. That is it. I love that. And that is the energy that you bring into this.
Okay. Thank you, Chantal. I really appreciate this conversation. And thank you for those of you who are watching this video in the group, because this is going to be part of our wonderful Trust Your Intuition Challenge starting next Sunday. But of course, by the time this is posted, everybody will be in the heat of it. And yes, I know we'll be speaking to each other and spending time together. I just want, no, that's not relevant for this video, but we nearly met in person, didn't we? And I know we will.
did.
We will.
I believe we will too. It just wasn't, as you said, the timing at the time wasn't right. COVID happened, but we will meet, Ange. I have no doubt about that somehow.
I think it's going to be a retreat in Glastonbury.
Oh, I've always wanted to go to Glastonbury, and you didn't know that. My whole body's just gone, yes. And interestingly enough, and I have bad memories of England because of my childhood, and I've always sworn I'd never go back to England. But you know what? That seems to have gone. That has hit. So again, ladies, when you know it's right, it hits you where it's right, and you overcome. Yes.
And what you don't know is I actually booked a retreat, a writer's retreat 2 years ago that I had to cancel because of my car accident in the most amazing thing at the bottom of the tour in Glastonbury. And I thought, okay, I just need to let this go. I'm getting goosebumps too. And I'm like, no, this is going to come back. Anyway, this is not what we're talking about today, but it's going to be fun.
It is part about intuition. It is part about business. Yeah. So in a way it is, because it is a part, what the Academy offers is that it's more than what you're giving. There will
be a Business Intuition Academy retreat in Glastonbury.
Yes.
Well, we'll put it out there. It's going to be fun. There.
We've just said it. It is going to be.
So it is. Talk to you soon, Chantal. Thank you so much.
Bye. Pleasure. Bye. Bye.